Gill, Felicia, thanks so much for joining me. I'm thankfully you guys are all right, but I imagine you're still reliving this nightmare today and will be for some time. How you feeling, Gill?
Still surreal, to be honest. Just can't even believe that we were there and able to, walk out of there, virtually almost untouched.
Felicia, give me a sense of the vibe in the club that night before all hell broke loose.
Honestly, the vibes were good. There wasn't a lot of people in that club. Based on what we heard, that what's typical there. It was maybe about, I want to say 40, maybe 50 people. But those who were there, they were dancing, having a good time, just enjoying the music ultimately. And that's the reason we were there, to enjoy and support the DJ who was there. So
And why were you there, Gil? What drew you to the club that night?
Honestly, we were just there to support our friend Tara, who was DJing at the venue that night. We were honestly supposed to go somewhere else because we thought she was DJing there. And it was just a last minute decision to go over there just because she was DJing there. So we wanted to go support her and, as true friends and, be there for her.
And what was the vibe like for you, Gil? I mean, people were dancing, having fun, hanging out.
Yeah, we hadn't been there long. It was probably like an hour, so we were maybe on our second drink and, it was, pretty kind of still early in the night for the area. And yeah, the vibes were great until, everything happened.
What was your first sense, Gil, that there was a mass shooting taking place in the nightclub in which you were just trying to relax and support a friend of yours who's a DJ?
Um, Honestly, it didn't honestly hit me until about the second or third gunshot that I heard. There was just a little bit of confusion in the club when the first shot happened. Um, Everyone, I was kind of scanning the room, and it just was apparent that everyone was confused. They weren't sure if it was the music, that the gunshot sound effects were coming from, or if it was actually happening. But my military background kind of, instincts kind of kicked in and kind of led me to believe that this is real, that this is actually happening, which led me to spring into action.
at that time, I didn't really think it was anything. I thought it was the music, as loud as it was. But yeah, we were standing right by each other, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we looked just uncertain, or kind of in awe, like what's going on. And immediately Gil said, "Get down now," and he kind of threw me down. And then that's when it all kind of transpired.
How did your military background and training play into this, Gil? And do you think it saved your life and Felicia's life that night?
Absolutely. It's something that being in the military we train for. You just don't anticipate it to kick in by instincts at all. I did a six-year stint in the Air Force and did a tour in Qatar for 6 months. So, hearing gunshots isn't uncommon. So it was kind of something that kind of was in the back of my mind, something that was very familiar to me. So that's what kind of led me to allow my instincts to kind of kick in.
How long until it was over? And give me a sense for how long it felt like
Mm.
in your mind.
I mean, I'd probably say it felt like 15, 20 minutes. And I think it only lasted like 2 minutes, like from the time the first shot happened to the time that he was kind of wrestled down in the next room over. Um, Honestly, from what we heard, we're kind of still trying to piece everything together because it just happened so fast. Um, People have asked us, if we ever looked at the shooter, which we never did, just because there were so many gunshots that were going down um, in rapid succession that we never honestly got a chance to look, just because we were face down, in the floor, kind of looking away from where the shots were coming from.
Mhm.
Did the shooter say anything, Felicia? Did you hear anything, or did he just walk in and start shooting?
Absolutely. He just walked in and started shooting. And just the way the layout of that club is right when you turn the corner from when you walk in, is he's aiming towards the bar. And my initial thought is I was just standing at that bar. I was just standing with those bartenders talking to them, who didn't make it in this tragedy. And I could have been one. So yeah, just that thought process continues to go on. And yes, when you come out of the bar area, it's wide open range at that point. It's a very open, exposed bar with very, circular round tables. And thankfully, at that moment, when Gill knew what was going on, he flipped the table immediately to shield us as we were on the floor.
Gil, the move you made to flip that table and to protect yourself and Felicia behind that table, did that save your life, do you think?
I think so. Like she said, the bar is wide open. There's literally no cover anywhere. Because I was kind of scanning the room when I told everyone to get down, and I looked and there wasn't any cover. It would have just been like shooting practice for him if he truly wanted to. So my first instinct was to flip the table. When I flipped it and used it as cover, and pulled her down and put her behind the table, and I was kind of shielded from the table as well, and I felt a shrapnel or a bullet ricochet off my foot, which kind of made me panic a little bit more. And that's when I immediately jumped on top of her to try and shield her from any other bullet ricochets or bullet fragments, because I just assumed that he was looking in our direction since I felt that.
A bullet fragment, it appears, actually hit you in the foot on your boot.
Mm-hmm.
What went through your mind in that split second? Did you think you're next?
Yeah, I honestly thought I was about to catch a bullet, like in the back, or anywhere in my body. After that, which kind of led me to, kind of spring into action and kind of, try to shield as many people as I could that were, around me.
How close did you come to dying that night, Felicia?
I would say extremely close.
We saw our friend, the DJ Tara, lying there on the ground. She was shot in her back. We didn't know the extent of her injuries at the time. She was just yelling for help, along with two other patrons that were in the back alley were hurt pretty badly as well. So it became clearly obvious how many people were affected once I got out of that area and saw how many people were affected.
Felicia, what was the scene in that alley?
It was horrible. As Gill walked over to do all that in the DJ booth, I was kind of tunnel vision at that point. I didn't even know what he was doing. All I seen was the door to the alley open, and I walked out there and I seen bush blood spots walking towards the, trail to the snow, and I seen someone lying face up, and I immediately ran over there, and it just so happened to be our friend who was the DJ, just talking out loud and yelling, and I just grabbed her arm and was comforting her and told her it's going to be okay. At that moment, I heard all the sirens and everything, all the ambulance. And at that moment, Gill walked out through that door, and I told him it's our friend. And he was probably just that immediate reaction to help other people and to signal down, the ambulance, the assistants, the cops, to navigate where people were and help, those who were seriously injured. So navigating them towards the back. So it was just chaos. But at that time, all I really had in front of me was my friend holding her hand. So
this is the friend, the DJ, who you came to see that night.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's lying in the alley, shot multiple times, bleeding. And you're holding her hand. And Felicia, what does she say to you?
She said, I don't want to die here. And she said, I'm shot in the back, and where's my girlfriend? And I told her I will find her, and you're not going to die here. And they're here, and we're going to get you help. So.
The ambulance took her away?
Yeah, the cops came around the back, and they told me and another person, one of our other friends, if we can assist and drag her to the actual parking lot, basically away from the building. Because the active shooter was still in the building, we didn't know where he was at that given time. And we were only about maybe 2 to 3 feet away from the door. And so we drug her through the snow to the parking lot. And then they were able to help her.
What happened to your friend?
Thankfully, she was able to get to the hospital in a decent amount of time. And we later found out that she got a bullet or a few, I believe, to the back. And they were not life-threatening in regards to hitting any major nerves or, anything worse. And I believe she just had her appendix out and she's going to make a full recovery. So that's a blessing.
Something to be thankful for this holiday season.
Absolutely.
When you were in the alley tending to your friend who'd been shot multiple times in the back, you don't know whether that shooter could walk out and start shooting again.
Yeah, I honestly didn't. I even think I don't know who I said it to, and I just said, guard that door. Don't, close that door and guard it. And I don't know if it was Gill right there. I don't know if it was another individual, but they were guarding the door because I was holding my friend's, hand and trying to comfort her. And that was probably that was the last thought in my mind. Someone walking through that door. He doesn't deserve any comments from anyone based on what he's done and the lives he's taken from people around the holidays. So.
Gill?
I think just kind of touching back to what I said previously, it's, blatantly obvious that he had hate in his heart to a community that he truly didn't understand. Because if he truly did, he would understand that there was no need for that. There was no need for that act of hate and just malicious intent, towards the people in that club. Because if his goal was to harm as many LGBTQ plus members, of the community, then he would have understood that there wasn't just, people in that club that, were part of that community. So just his actions were completely ignorant and just filled with so much hate in his heart that it's just, mind-boggling.
Felicia, is there anything else you want people to know about surviving this, about what happened and why?
No, not really. My hearts are with those again who did not make it through this tragedy. Those who were seriously injured, although who are just wounded, as well as from a mental standpoint.
Gill, final thoughts?
Well, kind of what she touched on, just kind of, I just, want to be thankful, that we were able to make it out of there. Unlike some people, it's just something that I feel like we're truly blessed to be able to, walk out of that, horrific scene and able to help others that maybe weren't able to help themselves. But I think together we can, get through this and, make it through because we're a strong community, together. And just anyone that, was there just to kind of reach out and, for help because you're definitely not alone.
All right. Well, bless you both. I hope you can try to salvage a wonderful Thanksgiving and a great holiday. We'll stay in touch with you. And again, thank you for taking time early in the morning to speak with us. I know you both have jobs and lives to push through. So I truly, truly appreciate it. And we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. All right, guys. Take care of yourselves.
You too.
Thanks again.
Mm-hmm.